What is up, everybody? Welcome back. Welcome back to our review of NFL week number 10. Yes, welcome back. It is the good, the bad, the ugly. It is time that we review the action that just took place. And man, oh man, are there some hard-hitting questions that we need to get to. So without further ado, let's start the show. Welcome back. Welcome back to another week of the good and the bad, the ugly. Yes, it is time to review NFL week number 10. I mean, there was a lot of action that happened this week. There were some upsets. There was some big defeats. There was some little defeats. We had a massive comeback that we're just going to get the overarching opinion on. But I mean, we had so many things take place in NFL week number 10. Hi, how's it going? I am Jacob Cutler, one half of the Sports Guys. And as always, joining me, he is the other half of the Sports Guys. He is none other than Mr. Brandon Sullivan. Brandon, how you doing this week? Big victory, even though your team did everything in their power to give it away.
Yeah, those are the big gutsy. Those are the wins that that build character. I think a lot of people would say, as far as putting yourself in those difficult positions where you might end up losing a game, but you find a way to screw everything going against you, and you still find a way to win those games. I think that is what prepares you for the long season ahead. So I'm glad that the 49ers were tested the way that they were. I think they needed to face some adversity. They need to continue facing that adversity. I think last year they kind of coasted a little bit, and this year they're really having to, switch into another gear. And special teams, wild for the 49ers all season. So definitely stressing me out. I know you were probably stressed out just watching it too. Not even
Debo throwing some punches, baby. Love it.
Debo Samuel Deboing. I mean, he's fits the criteria of the actual Friday character.
On his bicycle, dude. Going, yeah, he's coming, dude. He's coming, dude.
That's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
In that game, we had a little bit of entertainment at the end there. It got a little chippy, and it could have been bad for the long snapper Pepper. So
could have been.
And hey, that's what I like to see. Passionate. Debo Samuel just pissed off, just upset, just wanting to win. I don't think it was anything personal. I think it was just more of, well, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
What are we doing here? This game should have been done a long time ago. Special teams failed us in the Cardinals game. Special teams failed us in the Rams game. Special teams has failed us in a lot of the losses that we've taken, and it's almost cost us a couple of more losses. So just very fortunate. So glad to be sitting here on the right side of the W there.
I like it. Yeah, it was a big victory. Big victory there for the Niners down there in Tampa Bay. Jake Moody doing everything in his power to lose the game for the team. I'm very surprised that we did not get a ESPN alert right after that it was cut.
I mean, I got to play devil's advocate a little bit. To his defense, he was out for a while. It was his first game back. I mean, missing 3, no, but I give him a little bit of a pass. Let's see.
Okay.
Just
a little
coming
in. Jake. Okay.
Yeah. I'm not a fan of his. Let's be clear. But this show is, it's not based off of solely emotions.
Yeah.
I want to also be able to, it's not an excuse, but it's an explanation as far as he hasn't played in, 6 weeks. We've gone through 3-4 different kickers.
Sure.
Get back into the groove of things. It was like a preseason game. So for him, so we'll see. I think that he'll be packing his stuff if he doesn't improve for sure, because Carlson didn't miss a kick for us. So we'll have to see what happens.
Yeah, we'll definitely see what happens there. But Jake Moody, getting the job done there in Tampa Bay when it was
right.
All
he made the kick that mattered.
Yeah,
he made the
all
kick
said and done. When it's all said and done, got the job done. Let's quickly go over how we did last week. Let's put it up on the screen. For yourself, 9-5, not too shabby. 1-0 on your guaranteed victory. The Chiefs, I mean, good God. I can't believe it. For myself, 8-6, 1-0 on my guaranteed victory. Okay weeks. Not the greatest, but okay weeks. Overall for the season, that puts us at, it is a race to 100, my friend. 96-56 for yourself. 7-3 on your guaranteed victories. 92-60. 8-2 on my guaranteed victories. Looks like we should get to 100 wins this week. You for sure. Me, it's got to be a good week. Let's wipe those off the screen and let's get in to just some conversation, some questions. Yeah, we're gonna flip it up. We're gonna flip it up this week and the rest of the season. I got a question for you. I actually got a few questions for you. But with Lamar Jackson dominating performance throughout this entire season. Started off kind of slow, kind of trying to get his wheels greased and everything like that. Now, clearly in the full swing of things, the evolution in his game from being a runner who can throw the ball to now a passer who can run. The maturation, the evolution of Lamar Jackson is coming full scale after Thursday night's victory against the Bengals. Where do you have him ranked? Because currently as it stands, he's at 2,600 yards, so second, right behind Joey. 24 touchdowns, tied for first. 2 interceptions, right, tied for basically last. And then he has the best QBR. So after Thursday and after now seeing this week and digesting this week, where are you ranking Lamar currently in your MVP ladder, your MVP rankings?
You know, it's tough for me because Lamar's got a good defense. He's got the best running back in the NFL, and he does have weapons on the offensive side of the ball with Mark Andrews, Flowers. There's just some weapons in there, and he does have a pretty decent line. I got to go with my guy, Josh Allen. I think Josh Allen is the MVP right now. I just think that he's doing a lot more with a lot less. He's doing just as much, I should say, with less. I still can't really sit back and name any of the Bills players, whether it be running backs, linemen, tight ends. If you threw out some names, I'd probably remember, but I just know. You lost Gabe Davis. You lost Stephon Diggs. Those were your 2 big weapons. Your running backs, I'm not going to sit back and say they're Derrick Henry, Christian McCaffrey, or, help me out here. Kyron Williams. They're not those type running.
Saquon Barkley,
Saquon Barkley. So you don't have top tier running backs. You don't have top tier tight ends. You don't have top tier wide receivers, in my opinion. They could blossom to that, but Josh Allen has really, really taken the AFC East by storm. So, I just think that Lamar's got to prove it to me in the playoffs. That's just where I'm at. I wish that the MVP included the playoffs a little bit. It doesn't. But he's always faltered in the playoffs. How do you score, 10 points or 13 points in the AFC Championship game? And just, you have the best record in the NFL. It was 14-2 or 15-1 or whatever it was the year that the Niners went to the Super Bowl, and you just lose to like the 5th or 6th seed Titans. I have never, ever seen he's just turning into another Peyton Manning for me, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but Peyton Manning has 2 Super Bowls. So Lamar Jackson, I got to put him behind Patrick Mahomes because the Chiefs are 9-0. So whether people, he's made those plays at the end of the games, I got to put him behind Josh Allen. And personally, I think he's in probably third. I think he's third. I was going to say Joey, but Joey, I just can't because of the record. I just can't.
Makes sense. I like it.
Where are you at?
I think Lamar's definitely put a good showing. It's hard for me because obviously I love the Bengals. So it's hard for me to kind of root and, kind of be happy for another AFC North team. But Lamar to me, if he keeps playing the way that he's playing, he definitely is on the cusp of his 3rd MVP, which is absolutely crazy. How old is Lamar? Do we know off the top of our heads?
I think he's 29. I'm just going to guess. He's been in the league.
27 years old.
Okay, so
And
he's
he's on the
28.
cusp. Yeah, going to be 28, right? So he's on the cusp
Yeah.
of his third NFL MVP.
That is crazy. That is
So,
crazy.
I mean, here's the thing. And I think you kind of touched on it, right? We know how good Lamar is. It's no secret.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's a two-time MVP. We know how good he is. Winning a third is only going to cement him as, I mean, arguably the best, not arguably, the best running quarterback of all time. I mean, he's going to surpass Michael Vick. I love Michael Vick more than anything.
Michael Vick's my favorite player of all time. And I know people have.
Yeah, I'm saying
he went to prison. He served his sentence. Let it go. Yeah, exactly. He went to jail. We get it.
Yeah.
But watching the guy play, it was phenomenal.
Yeah, in terms of just like overall best running quarterbacks, Michael Vick was the standard, right? Then you had Cam Newton, who was a different breed. He's a completely different breed of running quarterback. But you got to compare Michael Vick to Lamar Jackson. And at this point, Lamar Jackson is way better than Michael Vick was. And he's only getting better. Now, like I said, kind of in the pre-intro, the maturation of him as a passer has and the evolution has become night and day over the course of his career. He is way more comfortable in the pocket. He looks to pass more than he looks to run. He's not making dumb decisions. I mean, 2 interceptions on the season, right? So he's not making dumb decisions. Now, the award's called Most Valuable Player. Who's the most valuable player to their NFL team? There's a lot of arguments out there, right? Patrick Mahomes, you could easily make a case for, because, I mean, you're going to hand it to Carson Wentz. I mean, I think that would just prove that Patrick Mahomes was the MVP. I mean, you can make a case for Jared Goff, right? You take Jared Goff out of Detroit. Are they doing what they're doing right now? Some can make arguments yes, some can make arguments no, because of how precision accuracy Jared Goff has been on the season. Josh Allen, right, leading a bunch of no-name nobodies basically into the gray and just going out there and absolutely balling. So Josh Allen could definitely make a case for. And then even Joey, right? Joey's leading the league in passing yards. He's leading the league in, I think, most of the stats, actually, honestly. So he's having one of his best seasons, barring the Bengals being absolutely terrible on defense, right? If the Bengals were better on defense, Joey 1,000% would be the MVP right now. Lamar would be second. 100%. Patrick Mahomes, Jared, and then Josh Allen. That's how I would have it. But as it stands right now,
Brock in there. I mean, I think the Niners would be 1-8 or 2-7 if Brock didn't play. You know, I think. True. I mean, I mean, just an honorable mention. I like to throw his name in there because he does. he is part of that engine. He really is.
Definitely. So, I think it's a good question. Where I would rank Lamar to wrap this whole thing up. Where I'd rank Lamar, I think I would have him second right now. I think I kind of like your Josh Allen just explanation. I think you could definitely put Josh up there at number 1. I'm actually going to put Jared at number 1 and just what he's able to do with that Detroit Lions team and where they seem to be headed this season. But yeah, Jared Goff and then Lamar Jackson. I'm going to go Patrick Mahomes, 9-0. You got to give it to him.
Jared Goff's done more than Lamar Jackson's ever done in the playoffs.
That's true.
Jared Goff, if his coach didn't make a couple of bad calls, Jared Goff would be in the Super Bowl. Lamar Jackson hasn't scratched the surface of a Super Bowl. They didn't have a chance against the Chiefs.
We'll see what happens.
The way I look at it.
Yep, we'll see what happens. We will see what happens. I mean, this could be the year.
Prove it year.
It's a prove it year.
Prove it year. You blow it again. I can't. It's just where I'm at. It's like, that's another choke. He's got to get it done this year. And that would be nice to see him instead of the Chiefs. I mean,
yeah, definitely.
Give the guy a chance at
anybody but the Chiefs.
Yeah.
All right. Our next question for you is with that massive, and it is a massive victory because of, the expectation coming into the season. I know there was some high expectations, but the realistic expectation was this team wasn't going to do anything. We had the Pittsburgh Steelers. Absolutely, shocking everybody. Throwing Justin Fields out there, now putting Russ out there. Russ just seems to have the tread seems to be like renewed on his tires. He looks like he might have actually found an actual home. I had a hot take saying that he would never take the field as a starter. That was dead wrong. Because, yeah, if he continues to play the way he's playing, he will definitely be a starter for the next few years there in Pittsburgh for sure. We got the Pittsburgh Steelers handling business against the Washington Commanders 28-27. Another fantastic performance. Not fantastic, but a good performance from Jaden Daniels, the rookie. He made big plays when he needed to. He got them with the chance to win. It's just that Pittsburgh defense, man. That Pittsburgh defense is for real. So, do we need to actually be talking about the Pittsburgh Steelers, or do we just need to kind of maybe pump the brakes on the Washington Commanders? Or both?
A little of both, yeah. Commanders, I think that, they're still, I think their identity is being formed, but it's still not completely sculpted. So I'm kind of on the fence with them a little bit. I do think that it's always tricky. It's nothing against Jaden Daniels, but it's always tricky when you have a rookie quarterback. There's a lot of growing pains that you have to go through. We saw Brock emerging, with his reads, and after he had a full season under his belt, you can tell that those growing pains have helped him in those situations. And so I think Jaden Daniels hasn't been in a lot of those situations. But as far as Pittsburgh, I'm not sold yet. I mean, I saw the Tennessee Titans go 9-0 or 10-0 in 2000
the Kerry Collins effect. The Kerry Collins.
We can always go back to that. I think that we're going to, and I got to give them credit for beating the Commanders. I said that this is a little bit of a prove it game, and they were able to beat, a reputable opponent, because, you went through the New York Giants, you went through the Jets, you went through the Raiders, you went through the Cowboys, you lost to the Cowboys, but you beat the Giants, the Jets, the Raiders. In my opinion, those teams are bottom feeders. They're going to get top 10 picks in the NFL draft. So you had to beat a team that was a decent team, and you beat the Commanders. I think we're going to know everything that we need to know next week. I think that's the thing. When you play Baltimore, if you beat Baltimore, then they have to be on your radar. But right now, currently as it stands, they're not on my radar until but I will say this. They are a decent football team. I will give them that. I think that they're
Mike
decent.
Tomlin, man.
He's been the coach forever for a reason. They don't have attrition.
3 coaches. They don't have attrition. Their entire franchise run. 3 coaches. Yeah.
Which is incredible. And it goes to the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think they're the greatest franchise in NFL history. I had an argument with my friend. He said there's 2 teams that have who have the 6 Super Bowls. It's the Patriots and the Steelers. Yeah. And I said, and this was my argument when the Celtics and the Lakers were tied. I said the Celtics are the greatest franchise in NBA history because they're the first to obtain 17 championships. And I feel the same way about Pittsburgh. All the Patriots did was tie the record. The Pittsburgh Steelers set the record. So to me, the Steelers are the most decorated NFL franchise in history until somebody surpasses them. And they've done it through keeping the same coaches, always trying to make sure they have a good quarterback, whether it be Ben Roethlisberger or or Bradshaw,
Terry Bradshaw. Yeah.
Cordell Stewart was even decent back in the day. I mean, they went to the playoffs, and Tommy Maddox wasn't terrible. I mean, they've always had decent quarterbacks. That's what I've noticed about the Steelers, aside from like Rudolph. But the Steelers I feel like they've always had pretty decent quarterbacks, and I think that getting Russell Wilson was a big pickup for them. So credit to the Steelers. I mean, they definitely have quieted me a little bit. I mean, they've quietly made it to 7-2.
Yeah, I mean, they are the quietest 7-2 team, I think, this year. I like what you said. I kind of I want to hit the throttle on the Commanders. I think this was a prover. I think this was like the Bengals in 21 when they got in that shootout with the Green Bay Packers, and Evan McPherson and Mason Crosby kept missing field goals. And then Evan McPherson missed the field goal against Mason Crosby to lose the game. And I texted my mom, and I was like, this is basically one of those games where it's either going to make you a better player or you're going to fold up shop and you'll be on another team. And Evan McPherson stepped up to the plate and hit some of the biggest field goals of his entire life that season in 21. It's the exact same thing for the Commanders, right? The Commanders, they got punched in the face. They got punched in the mouth by a good team. How will they respond? How they can either fold up shop, i.e. the Chicago Bears, right? Chicago Bears gave up one Hail Mary. Done. That was it for the Chicago Bears. So the Commanders got slapped in the mouth. The Pittsburgh Steelers are a good football team. Russell Wilson, I was just looking it up real here to wrap it up. Russell Wilson, in 3 games, has already 737 yards, 6 touchdowns, and 1 interception. So, I mean, he's balling. He's absolutely balling. He's actually got weapons there with George Pickens, who decided to get in a WWE match with that guy on the interception return, which was absolutely hilarious. Yeah, I mean, Russell Wilson balling out there. Jaden Daniels balling. But in my opinion, I think the Commanders need to hit the throttle. They do not. They just need to shrug that loss off. Understand that they went toe-to-toe with a really good team, a really good organization, a really good franchise, and it's only 1 loss. You still have 7 wins. You're still 1 game behind the Eagles now for first place. Now you play them this week. So we got some big matchups coming up in week 11. I'm very excited for week 11. But the last question is, oh my God, what is going to stop this team? What is going to stop this team? It does 5 interceptions is not going to stop this team. Being down double digits is not going to stop this team. Nothing seems to stop this team. What team am I talking about? Yeah, it's the Detroit Lions. If you didn't watch Sunday Night Football, I mean, man, are the Detroit Lions a complete team. Grit is the word that you use in Detroit. You use it for the Tigers and you use it for the Lions. They are gritty teams. Like Dan Campbell said in that press conference, man, they're going to go down, but when they go down, they're going to take something with you. And then on their way back up, they're going to bite your kneecaps. They're going to bite something. They're going to do something. They're going to claw an inch and do anything they can to never give up. They're always going to fight. And it's basically that team. That team is fight all the way through. So what or who is going to stop this Detroit Lions team from not only reaching the Super Bowl, but from potentially stopping the Chiefs from three-peating the Super Bowl?
You know, I think that that's a valid question, but I will start with, I think losing that week 2 game to Tampa Bay really actually helped them because it showed them that they're not invincible. I think if they were sitting pretty at 9 or 10-0 right now, there would be a lot of pressure. There'd be an immense amount of pressure. And I think the pressure is going to start getting to the Chiefs. I mean, mentioning the Chiefs. And I don't think that it's good to be undefeated throughout the season. I mean, everybody would say you want to win every game, but I feel like pressure starts to build up because then you're starting to think, can we do this? Can we do this? And the answer is, I don't know. I don't know who's going to stop the Lions. Right now, they're the best team in the league. But I do think that there are teams that have a chance. I mean, Houston had a shot. They had the Lions had no business being in that game.
They didn't,
especially with 5 interceptions. The Houston Texans, that was a classic game of choking. That's what that was. They choked, and we see that a lot. And we see it a lot with teams that are trying to find and build their identities. The Lions have an identity. It is built off of grit. It is built and assembled off of Dan Campbell, who I think is the best coach in the NFL. Yeah. I don't think that there's any argument at this point. I mean, the Lions, what they're doing with Jared Goff, this guy's never been an MVP candidate. He was good in the Rams, but they had Todd Gurley, they had Aaron Donald, they had all the weapons in the world. They were a super team. I mean, they had everybody. And so, yeah, I mean, it's going to be tough. I mean, I have a couple games circled on their calendar that I think, are going to be tricky. Obviously, the Buffalo Bills and the San Francisco 49ers. You got to go back to the team. It's an NFC Championship rematch. It's never going to be easy. If you were to ask me who I think has a chance, and people might say, Brandon, you're absolutely crazy. People might say you're being biased. No, I just think the 49ers have similar grit. I do. I don't think that they have as much grit as the Lions, but they're always in the mix. And we can also say the 49ers like to linger too. So I think that if it came down to it, the only team that could stop them in the NFC is the San Francisco 49ers. As far as in the NFL, I'm not sure who could, because I think that the Chiefs are the worst 9-0 team I've ever seen. So if the Chiefs run into the Lions, I don't think the Lions are losing that game unless the refs get involved, which we have to hope and pray that they don't. I just, if you're asking me, I'm not sure who. But the only team in the NFC I think that would give them a hard time would be the 49ers.
Yeah, I think the 49ers would definitely give them a hard time. I actually think the Cardinals right now would give them a hard time with the way that they're playing. Kyler Murray has things rolling down there in Arizona. They're also quietly good this season. But yeah, in all honesty, I mean, that comeback, I mean, oh man, you could see it coming. You could just see it coming. They never lost hope. And if you're a Detroit Lions fan, I know for a fact you didn't lose hope either. So the Detroit Lions, I mean, are absolutely a juggernaut. I mean, we can call them that. They are this year's juggernaut. It's going to be one hell of an effort to beat them. And honestly, who can beat this team? Themselves. Because that's who's proven to be the ones to beat them, is themselves when they don't make the right decisions in the right times at the right moment. So the Lions are really the only team that can really beat them, right? Themselves. But there are some teams out there that, and Brandon knows this because he likes to say this, right? Any given Sunday, right? Any given Sunday, anybody can go out there and get the job done. Same thing in the playoffs. You can go out there, you can have a bad game. Jared Goff could throw for 5 interceptions and they don't come back. So, there's definitely things
That's what makes it
happen.
the hardest to win the hardest sport to win a championship in is football, because in football you get one shot. Yep. That's it. In baseball you get best of 5, best of 7, hockey best of 7, different officials. Basketball best of 7, and people could argue you got to win 16 games in basketball and you only have to win 4 in football, but a coin toss can decide your fate. 100%. I mean, one penalty can decide your fate. A penalty in an NBA series, unless it's game 7 and unless there's got to be a multitude of things. I just don't see it as much in basketball and hockey and baseball as I do in football. So like you said, as you preached right now, any given Sunday, the Lions could literally rattle off every single win and then go up to Philadelphia or have Philadelphia come in and beat them, or have the Cardinals come in and beat them.
Yeah. So we don't know, but at this moment in time, who can stop them or what can stop them? Themselves. I don't think anybody right now currently can stop this team. So I'm very excited for the Detroit Lions. I'm very excited to watch this team in the playoffs. And I'm curious to see what's happened with this run, because the Lions, man, best team in the NFL. Best team in the NFL by far. All right. Moving on. Brandon, I think you got something for our peeps out there. Why don't you give us your best and worst performers of week number 10?
Yeah, we definitely, I gotta, you know what? It's a special best performer for me. Ricky Pearsall coming up, obviously, best performance in my opinion. I think that's more biased, but I want to use that this week because the guy literally was almost killed. Right before the season started, and he got a really nice, and it wasn't even bad. He had a really good performance against the Bucs. If he wouldn't have played the way we did, we wouldn't have won. So, got to give it to Ricky Pearsall. I mean, the guy is definitely a beast. I mean, we know that that is nothing that people don't come back from that very quickly usually. I mean, we're talking about a life-threatening event, and if anything, that's gonna a lot of the times just set you back mentally. I mean, the guy was almost killed. So credit to him. I mean, I'm just very excited that he was able to get his first touchdown. I mean, that was huge. I think that the team kind of rallied around him, which was kind of cool. And I mean, Ricky, talk to me about Ricky, Jake.
Ricky was great. I mean, he got that amazing touchdown. Anytime you can get shot and come back and play a violent sport that is NFL football, it is impressive. It is very, very impressive. So, shout out to Ricky Pearsall for not only surviving, but coming back and thriving and scoring his first NFL touchdown. So like you said, I mean, if he wasn't there, they would have lost for sure. 100%. 100%. Your worst performer. Who is getting the worst performance?
I got to go with Aaron Rodgers. I mean,
Ooh,
just
okay.
a 31-6 domination. He only put up 6 points. It's unacceptable. I can't. I mean, I was gonna go Jake Moody, but I mean, he did kick the game winner, so I can't necessarily. I mean, I got to go with the guy that just completely came out. The team, and not only him, but the whole team. But
Yeah.
Rodgers, it may be time, man. It may be time.
Yeah, that's funny. That's the first time I thought about it. I thought about that watching that Sunday performance. I was like, yeah, it's either next year or it's done after this year because there's not much left. There is not much left. Ricky Parasol, Aaron Rodgers, Ricky Parasol, best performer. Aaron Rodgers, unfortunately, the worst performer of week number 10. That's going to do it for this edition of The Good and the Bad, the Ugly. Yes, we are done with NFL week number 10 officially. We are on to NFL week number 11. And yes, if you haven't checked the schedule, buckle your seatbelt because we have some amazing games next week. Absolutely amazing games. Can't wait to get into it. Brandon, any last words for the people?
Yeah, I mean, the marathon continues. Obviously, the Niners are going to have to put something together here, but the Bengals are as well. You got both teams got to start winning. The Niners got to continue winning. Your team needs to start winning. So, but it is the final stretch. It's the second half of the season that we're starting to take a step into. So this is in my opinion, you just got to get as many wins as you can, especially in the division, if you want to have a chance.
Well said, my friend. Well said. That's going to do it for this edition of The Good and the Bad, the Ugly. He is Brandon Sullivan, one half of the Sports Guys. I am Jacob Carter, the other half of the Sports Guys. Got it on you. Switched it up. That's going to do it. But we are together. We make up the Sports Guys. And until week number 11, baby, buckle your seatbelt. Brandon, Jake, we're out.